Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about, do I need a gimbal? Especially if I'm using the new i14 Pro. Is this good enough on its own that I can actually get these gimbals? Get rid of them. We don't need it. We can just use our cell phones now. The answer to the question is yes, you don't need a gimbal. And no, you do need a gimbal. Let me explain why. Alright, so let me explain why I think you may or may not need a gimbal, and I'll let you know at the end my opinion. So let's just kind of move these out of the way for a second and look at the iPhone 14 Pro here. So we get a gimbal mainly for stabilization. So we need to compare the iPhone 14 to a gimbal. And it doesn't really matter what gimbal because these are all 3-axis gimbals. So we're going to basically do some testing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some walking and running. We'll even include some jumping. And we will see how well this all handles for the stabilization aspect of it. So first off, let's do some walking with the iPhone 14 and see how stable the footage is. All right, that is pretty good straight off the phone. Now let's take the i14 Pro, stick it in a gimbal, and go for a walk. Look at this footage. Looks pretty good too. Let's run them side by side. Which one do you think is more stable? Or are they the same? Pretty good results there. Okay, let's step this up a bit. Now let's take our i14 Pro and let's do some running. How well can the phone handle that? Let's check it out. All right, that is pretty impressive coming off from a cell phone, let me tell you. Now let's take the phone again, stick it back in the gimbal, and let's go for a run again. All right, good results again. The gimbals stand up really well. The phone does too. Let's run them side by side. Wow, pretty impressive. Okay, now let's get experimentally and let's take the iPhone 14 and let's try jumping with it. How well can this handle the stabilization of me jumping? Well, you can see there, that's not bad, but you can see how the horizon line is really doing this. Now let's take the phone, again, stick it back in the gimbal, and let's jump again. Wow, big difference there. You can see the horizon line is more stable. So let's put these clips side by side and check it out. Well, that was pretty good. You can see how the horizon was held better by the gimbal than it was with the iPhone 14. Now the iPhone 14 Pro I thought did very well. The gimbal I think actually outperformed it in that regards. Now I answered the question, do I need a gimbal? Yes. And do I need a gimbal? No. Now let me explain my reasoning for saying that. Now the reason why I'm saying you may or may not need one, it depends on what you're trying to achieve and what your actual goal is. The smartphone, as you saw, the iPhone 14 Pro performed, I thought, outstanding. But I'm locked into certain features, like trying to do a dolly zoom, vertigo, motion lapse. Can't really do that on here without connecting to a device like this and using their software. So this is where the gimbal has an edge, and this is where I say a yes and a no. If you don't ever plan on doing any of those special features, do you really need a gimbal? Probably not. But if you want to take advantage, and I will put a link in the description down below to me explaining all the Moment apps. These are both Hohem gimbals, and I will put a link to the Moments down below so you can see all these special features. But what happens if you want to do a motion lapse like this? friends, if you want to have a little fun doing a little bit of a inception rotation move like this. That is but just a sample of what gimbals are capable of doing. So if you want those extra features, if you want those extra controls, and you want a greater ability, then a gimbal is for you. What happens if you're doing a bit of vlogging and you want to do a bit of tracking? Well, this can track your face, but only while you're within the camera view. What happens if I use a gimbal like either one of these, and this one, even the V2 on the one, has a special tracking device on the top, can actually track me. So I can have my gimbal sitting here and it can face track me or object track, which is very cool. Check out this piece of footage. There you go. You can see me bouncing around the table there, and the gimbal was just simply keeping me in its field of view and keeping me tracked. So again, it depends what you want to do to whether you need a gimbal. I think there's pluses and minuses to both. My cell phone I always have with me, which is handy. A gimbal like this I don't always carry with me. The V2, as I've stated in the past, I like because it can fold itself down quite small, put it in my pocket. So again, to answer your question, do I need a gimbal? The answer is yes, and the answer is no. I can't make that decision for you. That's something that you need to do yourself. I just wanted to show you the plus and minuses to both and the advantages of using a gimbal with all those added features. So if you're not into all those added features, I think the stabilization of the i14 Pro is fantastic, and no, you don't need a gimbal, especially if you walk like a ninja and you are very careful. So that's my little summarization of, do you need a gimbal with the iPhone 14 Pro? Yes and no. Unfortunately, I can't answer it. You're the only one that can answer it. Let me know in the comments down below whether you think you actually need a gimbal or you like those added features that the gimbals provide. So anyways, that's it for this one. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos like this. If you enjoyed it, please give it a double thumbs up. So until the next time.